Let's move on. No longer so confident and strong as to dictate to the whole world what to do. American sociologists are puzzled. Donald Trump's approval rating has plummeted. And it's not just the overall level of approval of his actions by the country's citizens, but also the support for those initiatives of the U.S. president that brought him victory in the elections. What happened to the numbers? How could this change Trump's policies? Our special correspondent in the USA, Dmytro Anopchenko, looked into it.
Donald Trump is going through the worst period since his return to the White House. His ratings have collapsed, especially when it comes to American support for the key points of his policy, migration and the economy. Ahead are the midterm elections in Congress, where the Republicans risk losing control of the lower house. So what went wrong? The immigration raids in Minneapolis, which Trump's team deliberately planned to carry out as loudly as possible, in particular so that, trying to drown out other scandals, they unexpectedly produced the exact opposite result from what was intended. They mobilized Trump's opponents and made those who supported him seriously reconsider.
Americans see everything. Senseless, unnecessary, brutal killings. First, Renee Goodman, a U.S. citizen who in no way posed a threat to the officers' lives. And then Alexa Preety. An even more outrageous situation. He had a gun, which was his right. He never drew it. He did not threaten the officers. But they sprayed him with pepper spray, threw him to the ground, and fired 10 bullets into this poor victim.
Professor Lichtman, the #1 American sociologist and the most renowned predictor of election outcomes. He has his own system, which very rarely fails. He is usually outside of politics. He speaks the language of numbers, not political slogans. But he says, how can you remain a political stay on the sidelines when the current administration is tanking its own ratings? After all, instead of immediately calming things down, the Minister of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, openly lied. She claimed that the victim was a terrorist, waving a weapon, threatening agents, but the video disproved everything. And then the New York Times found out. In 16 cases where Immigration Service agents opened fire, the same pattern was present every time.
No matter the circumstances, the report stated that the victim posed a danger to immigration agents and that they were defending themselves. But in court, all of this falls apart. The truth is, immigration officers could have shot a group of nuns praying in a church, and their leadership would still go on the news and say they were terrorists. The officers were defending themselves.
And Trump understood this. He abruptly changed his rhetoric, stopped calling the deceased a terrorist, started talking about de-escalation, and replaced those in charge of the operation. But this is not a change of course. It's just an attempt to put out a political fire.
Trump realized that an urgent political maneuver was needed to soften his statements and not repeat blatant lies that are easy to debunk. But this is just a cover-up to minimize political damage.
And they are tangible. Trump's approval rating on immigration, his signature issue, has fallen to 39%. This is not just a problem, it is a very big problem.
People see with their own eyes how wrong what the government is doing now is. And it didn't just cause the ratings to drop. This is already in itself catastrophe.
Which is made even worse by the fact that Trump's second trump card, the economy, also didn't work out.
Immigration is not the #1 issue for Americans. Yes, it's important for Trump's core electorate. But the most important thing for the whole country is financial matters. And on that front, he has sunk even deeper underwater.
The situation wouldn't be so serious if it weren't for the upcoming midterm elections to Congress this year, where the Republicans are under threat, because even Trump's staunchest supporters might not vote for his fellow party members.
Trump himself won't be on the ballots, and he himself has admitted that the party can't win unless his own personal fate is at stake. That's why many Republicans who are running for office this year have warned the president. His immigration offensive is a threat to the upcoming parliamentary elections. But he doesn't listen.
There's also a historical pattern working against the current team. In the States, the party in power usually loses the midterm elections, and the Republicans are no exception. Now, they're in a situation where they can't escape from Trump, can't distance themselves from him, but the drastic moves he's making are rocking the boat too much to survive this political storm.
This is one of the political laws, Lichtman. I formulated many of them. You can't escape the mistakes of your own president. Try to distance yourself from Trump. It doesn't work that way with him. He sucks all the oxygen out of the room. And essentially, the midterm elections are a referendum on the effectiveness of the White House.
And losing during this referendum? It also means losing the third most powerful person in the country, Speaker Johnson. And it gives Democrats the opportunity to block Trump's policies in Congress, and even the possibility of another impeachment if the Democrats dare to go for it again. The threats are enormous. Yes, they can still be avoided, but to do so you have to curb your own ambitions. But there's little chance of that.
The only way to make a breakthrough and manage to sharply improve the economy and halt immigration raids before the elections. Want to rehabilitate yourself? You need to focus on domestic issues.
For Trump, who one moment is thinking about Greenland, then is fascinated by Maduro, and then is planning to bomb Iran, it's not easy. Even understanding all the challenges that the polling numbers have revealed. From Washington, Dmytro Anopchenko, Serhiy Koval, the American Bureau of Inter-TV Channel, United News Marathon,